Well, I hope everyone is having a blessed day today. I did record a short update video last night, but that was late because some Mormon really, really wanted to bark. I felt that I had to make that video. So, anyways, I'd like to apologize to the audience that the debate between Robert Gurr and Foxtrot, it was my fault. I misinterpreted that as a debate. It was cleared out at the ending that Foxtrot actually didn't want to come and debate. He does not know the topic, and I personally apologize to both sides that I mistook it as a debate, and I apologize to Robert and Foxtrot for misreading their intentions. Um, well. And I do apologize to the audience that that debate was really not a debate at all. So hopefully we have more of that coming. Now we have the great Von Braun, who is in many ways mentally ill and decided to continue the conversation with me. So let's read what he decided to reply to me this morning. He said, when you say if you think your gods are the eternal principle, the cause of creation, we reject that premise of a first cause, therefore no contradiction. Oh, so he did really go the route that there are things that are greater and superior than God. Okay, which some Mormons do want to go there. Some Mormon thinks it's stupid and will not go there, but this happens to be a really dumb Mormon. And yes, that means there are laws outside of God that God has to follow. That makes it so he has limits. Therefore, he is not omnipotent in the way you might define it. So, you sure you want to go that route, buddy? Because um, if they're principles greater than God, then your God uh is not the principle that grounds principles. Okay, it's not does not provide you with anything. And this statement really makes him look retarded here. It says, so why believe in him? Among other reasons, my understanding of God, with gods, by the way, gives a better explanation of the problem of evil than your God. Well, your understanding of God, according to your own paradigm, can't even give you an account of evil. So I don't know what you're talking about. And he thinks I'm a presuppositionalist. I have not used a single presuppositionalist argument. I've been doing an internal critique on his position the entire time. These people don't have no clue what they're talking about. They see their boys gets destroyed by Jay Dyer and anybody who knows anything about logic, and then they throw these terms to sound smart. Okay, so I'm not used. You guys can look at this conversation. I've not used any presuppositionalist tactics. You have to presuppose creation ex nihilo, or else all reality breaks for you, right? So, first of all, I don't presuppose creation ex nihilo because it's in the scriptures, and you don't know because you're retarded. And you don't know for good reason, right? Because you have the wrong scriptures, which you which you have no justification for. Either way, tell me, is circular reasoning sound? Only if you presuppose it is, low. So, well, again, there's no circular reasoning. And again, we see this problem manifest multiple times with Mormons, including LJ, that they think that your paradigm being circular at its foundational level is the same thing as that you can use circular reasoning as justification. This is the level of their brain that you're dealing with. Therefore, there's circular reasoning is not a fallacy. This is this is average Mormon. So he doesn't know that creation ex nihilo is in the Deuterocanon. So how stupid he is. And there's another Mormon, a nicer guy who's actually good faith on my channel, and he had the same critique. But and there it is. And I said, it's in the scriptures. And he said, oh, there it is. You pivot to your interpretation of scripture because you know you're using circular reasoning. No, I'm not using circular reasoning because it's literally in the scriptures and it's not in your scriptures because you have a shit collection of scriptures. Or is it the church interpretation that you follow? If so, we're back to the conversation if orthodoxy is true. Well, whether orthodoxy is true or not, if you want to play the interpretation game, well, we have the right to interpret the scriptures in every measurable standard. If you want to go the classical foundational list or evidential route, because we're the one that put the scriptures together. You have no clue about the origin of the scripture. You follow the Protestant scriptures. So, yeah, we can actually interpret and you don't. And everyone presupposes something. Sure, everyone arrives at circular reasoning eventually. Nothing can be proven 100% law. Yes, well, that depends on what you're presupposing. I can see that point. You have your presupposition of creation. No, I don't have my presupposition of creation ex nihilo. That's fucking retarded. It's literally in the scriptures. Like you guys don't believe me, so I'm gonna show you. Look, and I think I remember this verse because I deal with Protestant retards all the time. I beseech you, my child, to look at the heaven and the earth and see everything that is in them and recognize that God did not make them out of things that existed. Thus, also mankind comes into being. So created out of nothing. That's in plain language for you. Okay, I'm not reinterpreting shit in the OT proper. This is Deuterocanon right here for you, buddy. Look at the heaven and the earth and see everything that is in them. Okay. Heaven and earth, everything that is in heaven and earth. And God did not make them out of things that existed. So he made them out of nothing, things that didn't exist. Thus, also mankind came into being. It's not a presupposition, retard. Okay. No clue what you're talking about. Trying to be I'm not in a loop. You're in a fucking loop because your whole religion is Joseph Smith. So Book of Mormon, so Joseph Smith. You're in the loop, buddy. I'm sure you're gonna make a video about this. That's fine too. Okay, well, no, your beliefs are this. That's not. That's the problem is, buddy. This is not even your beliefs. This is not even your belief. Okay, but anyways, you have your sub presuppositions of ex nihilo. No. My presupposition is that that's not your presupposition. That's what your church teaches. Okay, that's not a presupposition. I then choose to believe in God through my understanding. Yeah, but that's your understanding of scripture. This is what's in question, which you have not justified. To use presupposition to say I exist because I presuppose I exist, that's nonsense. That's not even what the LDS Church teaches. So you are not a proper um, he says, I'm not wanting to attack your faith. Uh-huh. I want to clarify my beliefs. No, well, maybe your belief, that's certainly not a proper representation of the LDS belief, because LDS teaches clearly in your scriptures, which you actually quoted earlier, that you existed. Okay, so again, no clue what you're talking about. Now let's look at this mega retard here. Here we go. Look at this guy here. So I'm mental. Okay. I'm apparently mental. And this is what I posted. That's not what you're. So I told the guy it's not what your prophecy is. So yeah, here's the quote. Here's what he quoted. Okay. DC 9320. Man was also in the beginning with God, intelligence and light. Okay, yeah. So this is not your presupposition. Has nothing to do with presupposition. Okay. It's what your church teaches. It's a critique. It's an internal critique, dude. Your contest of ontology only works if people hold to the same presuppositions. I'm not where am I using presuppositions? Asserting that look at how retarded this guy is. For example, asserting that to be the greatest it must be the sole necessary function for everything isn't a proof. It's a claim. So okay, so that's self-refuting. So now you need to prove that claim. Well, I don't need to prove that claim because you just destroyed your own claim. You can be the greatest, but their principle is greater than the greatest. Really? You can't just do so with philosophy and logic. Oh, okay. Because they're obviously, if you know anything about philosophy logic, you would know that there's no such thing as greater than greatest. You're after true and real. Okay, well, you actually can't even assess true and real. Okay, your gods can't even assess what's true and real, unfortunately for you, because what's true and real is beyond your god. Okay, the principle. So I'll put it this way so zero IQ people can understand. Eternal beings are progressing. They have to progress to exalt. So then that would prove that the uh, principle of exaltation is beyond eternal. Okay. So because there has to be some sort of principle that is greater than eternal beings uh, to ground all these things. Because the eternal beings in their view can't do that. So um, your God can't even assess what's true and real because they're above. Um, I mean, I don't understand if you say everything is existed at the same time, and yet uh, their principles greater and lesser. And I mean, what determines that principle? That's the stupidest shit ever. You can't use scriptures as using scripture. Well, I can use scripture because it's not your scripture, and I can interpret that. I can use tradition because scriptures came from tradition. I've no pre again. I've no this is just ultimate retardation. Wait, so if I don't hold to the same presuppositions as you, we can't debate. Uh, no. Again, I've never used presupposition methods with mental patients before. Everything I've been doing, everything you guys been doing is internal critiques. Okay. By debating presuppositions, by understanding foundation of proper context. Okay. LDS with LDS. Then that's my point. LDS reject the ontological claims that Trinitarians holds are, well, we're not even talking about Trinitarians. Okay, the Trinity has nothing to do with this. The issue is your bullshit eternal regression. Okay, so it has nothing to do with Trinity or Trinitarian means. Okay, God can be a Unitarian and still be the sole eternal principle. Look immediately crying. Your definition of great is, oh, okay, so your claim that we don't believe God is greatest, which isn't true. Okay, so God's the greatest, but there's things greater than the greatest. This is that's your definition of greatest. How do these people even survive in society, I wonder? Our definition of greatest. Well, I think you are a retard according to my definition of the retard. So therefore you are a retard. Yay. And my presupposition is justified by showing the world how dumb you are. Is this how you're going to, this is how you're going to live your life? Okay, I hear it. Oh, hardly. Thanks for another perfect example of talking past each other and completely missing the point. OC was to show how stupid I am for assuming the presupposition that he used to build his this. Well, again, I didn't use presuppositions. You use logic and philosophy. You need to prove how that can be used to define God tradition because in our view, God is the grounding principle for logic and philosophy. Okay. You need to prove that your interpretation are reason. Well, you need to prove yours. So Notice how every single of these dumb arguments are defeaters for him. You need to prove your interpretations and reasonings are correct. Well, I don't because it's my Bible. I don't need to. If I remodel my house, dude, I don't need to fucking justify to you an asylum patients that what I did to my house was correct. Like, are you this stupid? Okay, well, again, but back to this argument, I've never even used presuppositions. I'm doing an internal critique on how contradicting your bullshit is, and you just literally admit it. There are things greater than the greatest. So it's stupid. To a LDS that believes such a mythology cannot define God. Okay, so logic and reason is below God. Okay, I'm assuming that. Well, see, here's the thing though. If God creates something, it needs to have a purpose. Okay, that's the whole point of one of the biggest point of having a religion is that you believe existence has meaning. If not, you're a nihilist. Okay. Um, yeah, we're debating. Well, we're not just debating presupposition. We're debating how retarded your entire religion is. But anyways, let's get back to this. So if God creates reasoning, it has to have purpose. And if it does not have purpose, then you are a nihilist. Okay. So to you, that the whole purpose of logic and reasoning cannot get you to truth. So what the hell? I don't need, again, but again, I don't need to prove my interpretations to you. Okay. It's by default correct because it's mine in the context that the object, which are scriptures, are mine. It's inter-religious dialogue. Again, no, that we're going to hold our side as true is kind of the point. Yeah, it's the point. I mean, I'm literally granting that. So the reason why I'm not using precept is that I'm literally granting. And by the way, these people have no clue what these terms mean. They just use it because they think it makes them sound smart. I'm literally granting you that your paradigm is valid. And I'm doing a critique of your paradigm. That's not precept. Okay. How are you using the definition of justification? Are you serious? Yeah, if you don't know that, you probably shouldn't debate. But I mean, look at this. We don't believe God is the greatest to your definition of the greatest. We believe he's greatest according to our definition. Yeah, so this is the stupidest thing ever. I mean, by this argument, I can you so notice how these people are just nominalists. They have no solid grounding in anything. It's just constantly deflecting. Okay. Art definition. Well, I think by my definition that murder is correct. So I should just go murder people because that's my me defining the shit, appealing to myself, being totally arbitrary is the standard of my justification. Okay. And by the way, this is why you see Mormons just appeal to themselves. My feelings, right? Everything it's arbitrary bullshit. And this is, I mean, they come out here, they think they can debate and do this, and it just turns out to be extremely embarrassing at the end. Oh, I didn't see this one because it was hidden because he was cussing. YouTube would usually hide on it. Apparently, the dude can dish it out, but can't take it. What do you mean the dude can't dish it out? That's not even language, but can't take it. Testing to see if egotistical coward has blocked me, remove my comments, or if YouTube is being YouTube. If it's the last one, I'll delete it. If it's the first, no one will see this. If it's the second, congrats, Bertho, bro, you can cry him out about it. Well, unfortunately, so don't literally, man, like I'm trying to help you because you guys come out here and act like philosophers. You don't even know what presuppositions are. Okay, I'm not I have literally everybody watching this or reading this shit knows that I'm not presupping you, dude. So, um, look, if you are a Mormon, okay, so the problem with you guys is this is, by the way, this is why you're always going to lose with these postmodern arguments, such as, and I'm seeing you guys are doing this thing where you're trying to create more arguments, like you're manufacturing arguments to justify your beliefs. Okay, that's why you will always lose. Because none of the shit you guys are saying would fit. You know, you can try to interpret everything. This is what clowns like LJ and Noah Ermetz are doing, and many LDS people, young scholars, by the way, just, oh, well, we have a a father issue. We can just solve that by reading them and do the same thing we did to the Bible, which is to interpret them to be LDS. And so, and arguments, by the way, like Joseph Smith restored Enoch by temple practice. And Joseph Smith was Talmudic uh, prophecy added into Genesis. Like, this is shit that Joseph Smith didn't even think about when he made up this shit. And then you guys are using it, trying to manufacture shit because you know that the internet is out here and then all your past is exposed. Okay. And no, no one is crying and mad. You are embarrassing yourself, Nicholas Smith. Okay. You're you don't know what presupposition is. Okay. I mean, this guy's probably seen his boys getting destroyed by Jay Dyer, and he think he learned a thing about philosopher. Okay. Or philosophy. Now I'm openly transparent about the fact that I have no formal training on philosophy. I read some of Kant's work and Descartes, and that's about it. But these people, I mean, even people on the Orthodox side, that they just watch like what 10 or 5 Jay Dyer videos, and they think they're fucking some sort of philosopher, and they sit on Discord all day and try to debate Protestants, which is funny, by the way. I love it when Protestants get wrecked like that, but I mean, when Mormons try to do it, I mean, you're denying logic. You understand that, right? You're clearly denying logic. You're denying principle of non-contradiction. Uh, you're denying a lot of essential aspects of logic, and you guys are out here using classical philosophy to try to, support Mormonism with it. So it's not going to work. Okay, that's a self-defeating. Literally, I'm using um, I don't even know if that's a good comparison. I'm using my enemy's sword against my enemy, right? And hoping that my enemy is stupid, that he can't take his own sword back. But I might be able to come up with a better comparison, but I'm kind of tired today. But anyways, again, Robert Gurr, by the way, and I we got into some big debates and screenshots were posted. You guys can look in my older videos. Um, he's at a point that he's never going to consider anything else, no matter whatever happens. So, hey, you know what? If people are like that, I all I can do is pray. There's nothing much I can do, but he and I are on good terms, and I love moderating debates. But so let's go to what I'm really wanting to talk about today. Voice of reason. Okay. And I wanted to do this when his YouTube channel is still up. Now, let's analyze what he posted 8 days ago, right after, I mean, like within 10 hours after the allegations. Okay, let's read this together. And by the way, those of you who don't know what I do, I'm a psychological analyst and a business consultant. So this is the stuff I do. Okay, I analyze what employees does, I analyze what competitors do, and I give a summary on their strategy and HR shit, basically. I must address the accusations that have been circulating online over the past 24 hours. First and foremost, the accusation that I was having an inappropriate relationship with a 14-year-old girl is a complete fabrication. By the way, we still don't know for sure, but personally, I believe it's not a fabrication. And most people believed, most Catholics immediately went out and condemned this, and they did not believe that this was a fabrication. Not saying that that's a justification for him being guilty. I'm just saying that's what happened. And in fact, the people who were showing him leniency were on the Orthodox side. I'm treating an accusation of this magnitude with the seriousness that it deserves. I have made my church aware that of what is being said about me online, and we have contacted the authorities. I'm voluntarily cooperating in an investigation that will allow the truth to come to light and will dispel this awful and vicious rumor. I am also prepared to undergo legal action against those who have defamed me. I must also sincerely apologize to everyone who has been hurt, shocked, and scandalized by these rumors. It is of great importance that I also acknowledge all my mistakes, failures, and sins. Okay, so I'm a wretched sinner who is in desperate need of God's mercy as well as in need of forgiveness of those who have offended and sinned against. So, right here. Okay, so there are two parts of the scandal against Voice of Reason that are issues. One, obviously, the PDF part. The other part is the blatant action of, um, how do I say this, of ill manner as someone who is representing a faith, the faith. Okay, that's an issue also. Okay, the sexting, which was extremely boring, and his personal selfie, and plus all that. I mean, and his DP too. So none of that. I mean, all of that. Basically, I think that's like 80% getting his butt, so, and nailing it, right? Nailing the coffin. Okay. Um, so what could be a false accusation is the PDF part. Okay. Because let's look at this sentence here. It is great importance that I also acknowledge all my. So he just spent the first part saying that he's innocent, and then it is of great importance that I also acknowledge all my mistakes, failures, and sins. I'm a wretched sinner. So this is not a usual statement that would be used in this case. Let me tell you why. Because he's facing a serious allegation, and um, you would try your best. If someone who is truly innocent, okay, he should be trying his best to make it clear that he's innocent. And most people will not reference the fact of his mistakes. Okay. So this makes me believe that the 14-year-old thing may be a fabrication, but this the sexting is real. Okay. Um, and generally from Voice of Reason, he should have, from what I analyze on his videos, this person is extremely okay? Extremely smirky and egotistical. And in many ways, Well, I would say I would stick with the word smirky because he is not a good faith person. As we watched the debate with Ubi. Now, I don't think Ubi should have insulted him the way he did. Um, and I understood why Ubi did it because of his, Alex loaded the audience with scumbag Catholics asking the lowest tier gotcha slimy questions. But Alex as a person is extremely disingenuous. He is extremely egotistical. Okay. And judging on that, this part, if none of that happened, this part should not have existed in this post here. Okay, so my guess, if anything is fabricated, is the PDF part. Okay, the rest of it, I mean, without a doubt, I mean, if we analyze the text, it's real. Okay, and the timing, and to support that, Bishop prohibits Catholic influencer from church activities amid grooming allegations. Ooh, okay, so this came out today. Popular Catholic influencer has been barred from public events in his local church amid investigations into allegations of sexual misconduct. Arch Bishop Arthur Rupnevich of Holy Protection of Mary, Byzantine Catholic Eparchy of Phoenix, issued a statement prohibiting Catholic personality Alex Uardo, who runs the social media ministry Voice of Reason, from public events while he's under investigation. Hmm. Okay. He has sharply denied the allegation, which I wouldn't say he has sharply denied the allegations. Okay. The accusation that I was having an inappropriate relationship with a 14 years old is complete fabrication. Uh, he's prepared to undergo legal actions against those who have defamed me. Okay. Just a safeguarding the of all person oh, here we go. Amid the controversy, Catholic Answers, an apologetics nonprofit that produces the Catholic Answers live radio show, removed the page featuring Urardo from its website. Okay. So what from all this, okay, so it is almost undoubted that um undoubtedly that this sexting part is most likely real. Okay. And just from that alone, I think, look, I'm not a perfect person. I struggle with things too. But I think if you're going to be a public personnel and someone who is an apologist and an influencer, you should be kicked out of the Catholic sphere. Just like Protestants getting caught doing this, any person who professed to be a Christian when they are caught with this should um, get their ministry taken down. Okay, this is not normal. Okay, um, it's not a good face to have on the internet, especially representing your faith. Okay, and it shows. Most importantly, it shows that you are not in a position that you should be influencing others. This is why I am not an apologist. I'm preparing to be tonsured a reader in the Serbian Orthodox Church, but I'm not an apologist. Okay, I don't ever want to become an apologist. I know myself very well. Okay. But anyways, again, we do all sin, but we have to see ourselves with clarity in a way. Okay. We have to know what's going on with ourselves before we go out here and make videos. And Alex dedicates a considerable amount of his videos against Eastern Orthodoxy. Okay. And when you're out here participating in a vicious and by the way, and most of the argument he used against Eastern Orthodoxy is complete. fabrication and lies that are not even, I mean, that the lowest tier Catholic apologists won't even use. Okay. So all these things reflect that this person is not will. Okay. I mean, I've criticized Roman Catholics on my channel, but I don't use fabrications. Okay. Yeah, I point out things that couldn't or could not be harmful to the Roman Catholic position, but I don't feel the need to use old, stupid, and nonsensical gotchas against the other position. Okay. So this proves that this person should not be in the position of online influencing and apologetics representing his church. And again, unfortunately, I don't expect anything better from Uniates. Okay, just because of the nature of that sect of Roman Catholicism is pretty much represented perfectly by Alex's actions on the internet, I would say. Okay, absolutely embarrassment. Okay, treachery, sliminess. But anyways, this is another bonus video for you guys this week. Next week, I do have a video coming out on Wednesday, our usual time. It would be me and a friend. Unfortunately, another Mormon video because we just had to do it. We're not gonna let the lowest tier group take any shot at orthodoxy without getting away. But my friend Jacob Jew will be joining me, and I do have vacation this weekend, and I will see you all when we come back next week. Okay, God bless, and I hope we all have a great remainder of the week.